Overnight, my green tree python shedded her skin. Now, while snakes typically don't eat their discarded skin, other animals in the wild will gladly eat that up.
You are here because the outside world rejects you.
Let's do it.
So the shedded skin is made up of a hard keratin and a softer epidermis. Fun fact, the softer keratin is found in all vertebrates. However, the harder forms of it are only found in birds and reptiles. So I have this starter colony of isopods. They are my decomposers or cleanup crew. One thing is that they love to eat shedded snake skin. I wonder if it's because their exoskeleton is made of a similar protein as the keratin found in the snake skin. So I have two different isopods in here. One is the zebras that you see in the background there, and then of course these white colored ones are called dairy cows. Sometimes they have spots, most of mine do not, but they still do the same thing. One thing I have noticed while they're feeding on this snake skin, that they seem to not be able to eat the thicker belly scales. I don't know why. They just seem to just not even worry about it, and that often gets left behind, and I have to clean that up myself. But in the future, what I've done is just cut that out. Just not feed that portion of the skin to them, and just feed the parts that they actually eat completely up. So while I have your attention and let them finish eating, I'm going to show you another setup that I had recently done. So basically we're going to put in some substrate into this little container. It's an acrylic cage. Nothing special about this substrate, it's just the cocoa fiber. I am working on my own personal substrate, but that'll be for a different video. But since this is just going to be a temporary thing, just to kind of get the colony growing, I just went with the simple coconut. Of course, once that's done, then we got to add in some leaf layer. This is both for a little bit of food for them to eat, but also for them to just kind of hide under, makes them feel comfortable. And then I like to add a little bit of sphagnum moss into this. It just helps with the humidity, and again, just gives them some more cover to hide around in. Just make them feel a little more comfortable, because they are kind of a skittish little animal, because pretty much a lot of things will eat them. So they like to hide. And of course, give them a hard cover, which you've seen me use already in this video. And it just gives them a nice little structure to hide under that's a little more solid. And of course, here are the powder orange that I have. Now, this colony I purchased was, there was supposed to be 20 in here, but as you can kind of see, there are babies, so he was very gracious and obviously counting out how many isopods he put into this cup. So it's a pretty good start just from the get-go. And again, I'm just going to add them to the newly set up. It's a little more difficult when you're trying to film with the camera in one hand and do the job with the other, but they kind of just all fall out here eventually. Ungracefully, I might add, but it gets the job done. And there you go. You can see all those little babies running about as well. Now, these don't get as big, I don't believe, as the like the cows or the zebras that I previously owned. So just another little cleanup crew. And just like their counterparts, that we already have. Again, so see, there's the babies. Lots of little babies. So they're running around just exploring and trying to figure out their new habitat. And of course, I gave them a little bit of snake skin. I'm not sure if they've ever eaten this before, so I just figured, what a nice little new homecoming treat than to something as fun and exciting as snake skin. And then back to the original colony. So I sprayed it down a little bit. I just like to keep it semi-humid in there. And you can kind of see amongst the leaf litter there that the large scales are what's left behind. As they eat and pull that stuff around, they kind of pull it into the substrate or below the substrate. So, it kind of cleans it up a bit. And I do pull out some of the excess scales because, it's a pretty big snake, and I don't really want too much of these scales just laying about in there. Kind of makes it look dirty. But you can see there's still some left over for them to eat. But what I've noticed, and I've said it before, that they just don't seem to eat the belly scales. They seem to be a harder keratin than the rest of the shedding. And as a teaser for an upcoming video, we're going to discover whether or not my isopods will actually like to eat these freeze-dried fish. So stay tuned, subscribe, and until next time, later.